Today, I'm going to be reading an essay titled Somar and So's, An Immigrant's Pocket Guide to Assimilating. This is a fictional work with non-fictional aspects of my immigrant family's life. Who's in the room with us? If we could all appreciate them. My parents and my aunties, thank you. Wouldn't be up on the stage without them. All right. Somar and So's, An Immigrant's Pocket Guide to Assimilating. Thank you for picking up your copy of Somar and So's, An Immigrant's Pocket Guide to Assimilating. We at Somar and So would like to remind readers that our guide to assimilation is just that, one guide. Our knowledge comes from generations before us that found themselves traversing seas on ships from the Eastern Hemisphere to the Western, and the generations after them that wound up in Pearson International Airport in search of better lives. Through the stories passed down during mealtimes, bedtimes, and times of general lineman, we have comprised a collection of general tips and tricks to help migrants from all across the globe settle in Peel region. Our knowledge comes from the Guyanese immigrants from a single family and are in no way indicative of a monolithic immigrant experience. We are one publisher sharing one story, but we would like to make it clear that reducing any experience into a singular narrative is a deeply harmful practice. While sharing our stories of survival through the act of assimilation, we actively discourage readers from reducing lived experiences down to the bones. We hope you enjoy the tips and tales on today's selection. Assimilation Part 1, Landing. So, you've arrived on a freezing December evening in 1980-something at Pearson International Airport and have just disembarked the plane onto the tarmac, and when you exhale into the cold night, you can see your breath materialize in front of you in a misty white haze. Do not be alarmed. Despite what you think, you are not dying. This phenomenon is a normal part of your new Canadian life. For a good chunk of every year for the rest of your life, this fog will exit out of your mouth to greet you on cold mornings and remind you that your life, for better or for worse, will never be the same as before you left Guyana. After making your way through customs, you'll be driven to your sister's house in Mississauga, since she came up before you to set up a life for you, your parents, and siblings to have some footing when you arrived. It takes a village to take someone out of the village. When spending your first night in Canada surrounded by your family and new infant nieces and nephews in a cozy semi-detached, it's recommended that you sample the local cuisine to get a feel for the rest of what your days will taste like. Your first meal in Canada will be a beef burger, and you will like it. Pro tip: when your sisters walk across the street that same night to the tiny plaza with the European deli and hair salon to get said burgers for dinner, take special note of the 3 Polish sisters that run the burger joint. Over time, you will learn the route that is the 5-minute walk from your new residency at your sister's house to their restaurant, and walk it more times than you can count. One day, you'll bring your grandson here to eat the same way that you brought your kids here, and you will reminisce about your early days in Canada with those same ladies about your mom and sister after they pass. You will share a deep bond spanning decades and generations, but you will never learn each other's names. Part 2, the education system. When assimilating to Mississauga, Ontario in the 1980s as a teenager, proceed with caution. Your brown face will be one of very few in your new high school. Your accent and mustache will confuse your peers, and they will socially exclude you for it. Your teachers will question your intelligence and ability to keep up with your schoolwork due to their prejudice against people that look like you, but nobody will call it racism, because we do not like to use that ugly word here in Canada. No one ever said leaving your home country to flee corruption and find financial security was easy. Eventually, you will find allies in certain white folks, but more often than not, those friends will come from poverty. The down and the brown will often ally or overlap in common interest in this country, as you will soon realize. When you're both seen as less than human by the mainstream, you will end up being each other's solace. However, it is important to note that this interracial friendship is not always the case, and is made possible in part by your efforts to remove your accent from your speech and become a fan of Aerosmith and AC/DC. You meet them in the middle with interests in music, sports, and other cultural markers, and these new pastimes add depth to your life because of the entry point they give you into mainstream Canadian culture. In short, you'll try new things and make new friends as teenagers are supposed to. Your new broke white friends will treat you with a patience and understanding that the rich kids at school didn't seem interested in. Pro tip: as a teenage boy, getting involved in sports is a surefire way to bond with new friends over a common interest. Ball, hockey, and baseball will help you fit in with the Canadians that grew up playing these sports. However, if you are missing a taste of home, you will find that your community is playing cricket, and they will welcome you with open arms. Through your sisters and their husbands, you'll meet many young men that play cricket who, like you, are grateful to be here and longing for familiarity all at once. One day, those same cricket guys will be men your daughters respect and call uncle. Enjoying the familiar feeling of your shared culture when you're together, as you're all working your hardest to belong in the new country. With each other, you can relax in a way that you can't around your other peers. Assimilation Part 3, Child Rearing. Congratulations! You've been in Canada for almost 2 decades and have become the parent to 2 little girls in the same neighborhood that you immigrated to. And boy, has it changed over time. Raising 2 girls in a suburb 20 minutes outside of Toronto is incomparable to how you grew up in rural Guyana in the 70s, but fear not. You immigrated young enough and stayed for enough time that you are confident in helping your children navigate the ins and outs of their youth. That paired with the support of your sisters that have raised children in this strange new world before you, means that you have all the tools you need to support the growth and development of your 2 little angels. To help you socialize with the parents you meet at school functions, you come together over your shared immigrant experiences, despite coming from different continents. Your kids crack jokes at school that despite their parents being raised in different corners of the world, they all know their way around a rice paddy. To help your daughters feel connected to their Guyanese heritage, despite the lack of Caribbean kids at their school, we suggest you make weeknight dinner rotations just as varied as the ethnic groups in their classrooms. Chicken curry on Mondays, eggplant parmesan on Tuesdays, and homemade dumplings on Wednesdays are just some of the dishes that make them feel connected to your home country and a colonial nation that is now theirs. Remember, now that you're a Canadian, you're expected to embrace multiculturalism without challenging the systemic issues that arise for you and other brown-skinned folks. Pro tip: if you find yourself confused by any aspects of your children's social worlds outside of your home, turn to your sisters. They've been doing this parenting thing since you came to this country, and they know how disconnected and stressful it can be to parent third culture kids with back home knowledge. They've been through it before and have so much knowledge to share. They'd be willing to give it to you if you just did one thing: ask. When you landed and had to make sense of this alien world, it took your elders that came to Canada before you to help you blend into society. Now that you enter this new world of parenthood, you once again are meant to be calling upon your elders. If not now, when will you reach out? This concludes Somar and So's An Immigrant's Pocket Guide to Assimilating. We hope you have found this an engaging and informative read. Leaving your home country to try to build a life is no simple task. At every turn and stage, there will be large and small-scale barriers to your stability and happiness. We hope you take special note of the common thread that cushions these barriers: community. It is only through togetherness that we can grow and build a new life from your former one. Please, take the opportunities available to you and build something together. We wish you the best of luck in all your endeavors.